Well, now on the older Chryslers, there's not 2 tabs here, there's 1. But if you order a replacement, you'll actually get one of these. It's called a square-back because of this bit is a rectangular piece here, and it comes with 2 tabs.
Say it one more time, louder than before. We ain't taking the bus now, no, we want more. I got me a Chrysler, it's as big as a whale, and it's about to set sail. Big as a whale. Got me a Chrysler, it's as big as a whale, and it's about to set sail.
I didn't realise when I bought this car, but it's not particularly collectible or sought after in the US. Firstly, because it's got 4 doors, and in the US, for some reason, anything with 4 doors is worthless, pretty much. Okay, some goodies have arrived. So on the left, we have a reconditioned alternator from the US through Rock Auto. I think if I keep it long enough, people might start to appreciate it. It has a certain hugeness, a certain kind of style to it, and I like it. So anyway, why have I got an alternator from Rock Auto? I'm replacing the alternator. So how do I know the alternator's bust? Well, if you go online, usually if the battery's not charging, it's usually the voltage regulator actually, and it's usually that it's not very well grounded. So the voltage regulator is just there, this black box. And actually that's a replacement voltage regulator. A few years ago, it's solid state. The original ones had all sorts of bimetallic strips and things that moved around, and they'd go a bit crazy after a while. So I could check the ground on that, but basically there's one wire that's key. There's a green wire, dark green wire here, and it's not interrupted. There is a voltage on this when I use a voltmeter, and it runs all the way to, it runs to that tab, to that tab there. And then this thicker one is the one that carries the current that's being generated, that actually goes, eventually, if you follow it, it eventually goes to the battery through a fusible link. And that eventually goes round to the solenoid relay here, and ultimately back to the battery. I've checked all that. There's no breaks in any of those wires, and when you rev the engine, basically the voltage doesn't go up. In fact, it dips slightly, which suggests that you're drawing power from the battery, not putting power into the battery. If you rev the engine, it should go up a little bit to about 14 volts. So I'm not getting that with this. Now, I could have taken this off and tested it. There are videos that show you how to do that, but my bet is it is actually the alternator that's bust. Taking it off, so first of all, when you spin this, it doesn't sound too noisy, too bad, but there's a lot of play on this, in and out. See? Now on the new one, just trust me, it doesn't do that at all. So the alternator itself fits like that, and then there's this bolt here, goes through there like that. So you loosen that, and then it pivots like this. You bolt the top of this to the top of the alternator, and then you lever it out to get the tension on these belts, and then you do up, you tighten up this here, which has got the sliding slot in it. I can't complain, all the bolts came undone pretty easily. Nothing's rusty, and there's the bolt, it's absolutely fine. So this is the old one, this is the new one. So anyway, what have we got here? So this one labelled BAT, if you can see that, that's the thick one that goes to actually tracks its way through a fusible link, and it ends up on the top of the starter relay, and then from there ultimately it ends up at the positive terminal of the battery. So when it's charging the battery, the current flows from this through all those kind of pathways to the battery. Then the other one, this is FLD, that's the field coil. You have to have voltage there to make the alternator work. It energizes the field coils. Now, I don't know what that means. I mean, you can see there's copper coils of wire in here, but you have to have voltage there for the alternator to start working. The original alternator would have just had that terminal and that terminal. It wouldn't have another one here. You see this one has another one here, and so does this one. And I think these are called square-back. There's round back and square-back. These are called square-back because of this thing here. But they are sort of back compatible. And I've read two different things. One is the field wire. If you have two field terminals, the field wire should split and go to both. And I've also read that the field wire should go to one of them. It doesn't matter which one, and the other one should be grounded. See, this one's been grounded. You see, they've got the field wire there. Then this terminal, they've just put it to the case. And then as long as the engine is grounded with a grounding strap of some sort, then the alternator should be grounded. So they've just looped it to there. But if you're worried, you could run this to battery ground just for the purposes of testing. And I don't know if you can see under there, it's sort of shiny there. That's because under here is actually a carbon brush. Just brushing on here. Now one's angled at 90 degrees and one goes straight down. And I can't remember which is which. I think that one goes straight down. And this one's a bit more complicated. I don't know where it goes. I think it sort of goes in that way. Anyway, there's two brushes. So to convert a two-field coil, you see if it says field there, FLD. If you look there, it also says FLD. So which one do you use? So if you've got an older MOPAR, mine's 1965, with the so-called round back alternator, it would have one field wire and one post to the battery, and you energize this. It energizes the coil, and your alternator produces 12 volts, which goes to an external voltage regulator. If you order a replacement for a round backed alternator, what you actually get is another one of these with the square back. The original design, they're almost unavailable, but don't worry, you can convert them. So this one's already been converted. There is another way of grounding it. So the thing is, when this arrived, what you would have had is two spade terminals. The previous user has obviously fitted this. So how does this compare with the one I've just received? Well, we'll just put that over there. Bring this one in. Right. Now, it's different. You see, there's no spade terminal there. Here's a spade, nothing there. And the other really important thing to note is, you see here, there's a washer under here that's made of plastic. So this piece of brass rests on top of the brush mechanism. Plastic insulator with a screw through it, and he's grounded it to the body. Now if you look at this one, you'll see there's no plastic insulation washer. Under that bolt there's a regular washer, and there's no tab on there. So what they've done is they've already grounded it by removing the insulating washer and then putting a standard steel washer on, bolting it through. It is already grounded. So this is sold as a swap for a round back alternator, and they've already pre-modified it for you. Because they've grounded that, because that's been grounded, they haven't put a tab on it, because the last thing they want you to do is connect your field wire to there, and then it goes straight to ground and you start burning stuff. So that's got 12 volts coming down it, starting fizz and burn things, starting to melt things. So that's why there's no tab on it. They've pre-grounded it for you. So I was expecting to have to modify this like this with a little loop of wire, but I don't have to. So basically I've been overthinking it. I can just bolt this straight in. I don't know what you think. I think they should have put some sort of plastic cover on there, just so, you know, because there's no instructions came with it. So you go online, you see, and it tells you you've got to do this. But because this is pre-grounded, the last thing you want is to connect 12 volt to it, because you don't connect it to there, you connect it to that one by mistake. So they've removed the tab. So I think we're okay. I can test with the meter actually, just see if that is grounded. If I connect these together, it'll beep. There we are. So let's just, the brush is fixed to this topper here. So if I just put my thumb there, yeah. So it's grounded. It's already pre-grounded to the body, the casing. It'd be nice if they put some instructions in that explained all that, because when you go online, you get like too much information. So basically, I can just bolt that straight in. It's not a problem. It was sold as a direct swap. So yeah, I should have trusted them. This is like a kind of nylock nut without the nylon in it. It's a different way of doing it. So it grips this and doesn't just come undone and fall off. So we've got that in there, kind of loosely done up. So the next thing is put the bolts on. I'm not sure I can do it with one hand, but I'll have a go. Right, after a bit of fiddling around, you can see we're back on the lower pulley. And if you can see that on the top pulley, and we're over these here. But it's not tensioned yet, it's not tight. So next thing, right, I'm back. What did I do wrong? This bar was down there, and of course I can't get it up without taking the bolts off, can I? So we're now in the right place. So all I've got to do is pull a lever here now, a bit of wood or long tube, pull it back, get it under tension, and tighten this one up here. Right, so what I've done is I put a screwdriver down there, big long one, just pulled it back medium tight, then tightened up this here. So it's all in. So my first test, I'm just going to see if I've got a voltage here. So I've grounded it to the case, see if there's a voltage here coming out. If I do get a voltage that goes up and down when I rev the engine, then I'll check that it is also doing the same thing at the battery. Right, so I'm getting a voltage without the engine running at 12.7 volts. So you can see there, 12.7. So let's start the engine. Let's see what happens when we rev it. Right, 2 pumps. Check we've got, let's put a foot brake on just to be sure we're in neutral. Here we go. Right. 15.6. See? That's better. I'm now just going to measure the voltage across the battery, because that's what we really want to know, just to check that's okay. But I mean, I can't see why it wouldn't be exactly the same as what we've just seen. So yeah, that was good, because I mean, if that hadn't worked, then it would probably be a wiring fault or the fault with the voltage regulator, which is on the firewall. But I know I replaced that fairly recently. A fault with a modern voltage regulator, a solid state one, is often that you've just not grounded it properly to the bulkhead. But I remember I did know that when I fitted it, so I know I did try to ground it, you know, scrape the paint off and things when you bolt it on. So yeah, that's good. Right, okay. There it is, wedged in, 12 point something or other. Okay, start car. What do we got? Come on, see, 14. That's about right. 15.